When NBA players are hit with a dreaded injury, everyone's scared about whether they'll ever be able to bounce back. Lots of players end up becoming a shell of themselves or forced into retirement, but some guys are simply built different. So sit back as we look at 8 NBA players who were able to successfully return from some pretty terrible injuries. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting with, we have Willis Reed at number 8. In the 1960s and early 70s, Reed had established himself as one of the most elite players in the league. After leading the Knicks to an amazing record of 60-22 in the 1970 season, he would earn himself the MVP award and even led his squad to the NBA Finals. It was the Knicks versus the Lakers, who were being led by Wilt Chamberlain, and during Game 5 of the Finals, Reed would suffer a torn thigh muscle. Every Knicks fan was in utter shock as their championship hopes rested on Willis playing every single game. Willis missed Game 6, allowing the Lakers to force a Game 7, but Reed wasn't willing to give up. He took pain-killing injections right before the final game, and when he stepped onto the court, the crowd went wild. He could only play 27 minutes, but his baskets in the first half, coupled with his spectacular defense of Wilt, allowed the Knicks to secure the title, while Reed took home the Finals MVP. The best part's that Reed would continue to be an elite player as he was able to win another title and Finals MVP award 3 years later. Next up, we have Elgin Baylor at number 7. Baylor's widely regarded as one of the greatest small forwards of all time, as he led the Lakers to 7 NBA Finals and averaged 24.7 points a game for his career. While he suffered various injuries throughout his career, his worst one came in the 1965 season when he detached his patella. Unfortunately for Baylor, when he returned the next season, he didn't look the same at all. His numbers in the regular season looked terrible, but once the playoffs rolled around, he somehow went back to being an absolute menace. He was able to average 26.8 points in 14 games. What's more, he was able to perform at an elite level for 4 more seasons despite the injury. His comeback from a tough injury like that shows how much fight he has in him and adds a lot to his legacy. Moving on, we have Jamal Crawford coming in at number 6. Widely regarded as one, if not the best, 6th man in NBA history, Crawford has left his mark on the game with his crafty crossovers and nifty finishes around the rim. What a lot of people end up forgetting is that he actually tore his ACL early in his sophomore season, causing him to miss 59 games. ACL injuries are rough, so lots of people thought he wouldn't be anything special. Crawford proved them wrong, as 2 years after the injury, Jamal ended up scoring 17 points as a starter, but that was only the beginning for him. He continued to thrive as the years went on, especially on the Knicks, where he peaked and scored 20.6 points a game. Plus, he went on to be a terrific scorer for the next 7 years on teams like Golden State, Portland, and the Clippers, where he won 2 Sixth Man of the Year awards. Coming up, we have Dominique Wilkins at number 5. Nick was one of the most exciting players of the 80s and 90s because he was a walking highlight reel. His consistency was crazy, as he averaged at least 25 points a game for a whole decade and was named an All-Star 9 times as well. In the 1992 season, disaster struck Wilkins as he suffered a ruptured Achilles. Everyone was stunned because they thought that one of the most exhilarating players of all time would be sidelined for good. Much to everyone's delight, Dominique actually returned the very next season, and he left the NBA world stunned. The athlete adapted to his reduced explosiveness and changed his game so that he could still be great, just in a different way. This allowed Nick to average 30 points on 46.8% shooting in his comeback season. Then he averaged 26 the next year, but after that, he wasn't able to be as good as he usually was. At the end of the day, though, having 2 amazing years fresh off an injury like his is just insane. Next up, we have Kevin Durant at number 4. KD's arguably the most offensively gifted player in NBA history. His bag's unreal considering the fact that he's almost 7 feet tall, and whenever he gets going, his opponents know they're in for one of the worst nights of their life. After some amazing seasons with the Warriors, where Durant led the team to 2 straight championships, it was now time for Golden State to solidify itself as one of the greatest dynasties of all time, with a three-peat. Unfortunately, in the 2019 Western Conference semis, KD strained his right calf, keeping him out of the playoffs, until he returned in Game 5 of the NBA Finals. He started out strong, but the athlete clearly wasn't ready to play yet, as he tore his Achilles just a few minutes into the game. The injury caused the Slim Reaper to miss 552 days of basketball, and everyone feared whether he'd be the same beast once he returned. Despite the Nets' lack of success, KD's proven to be the same MVP caliber player, as he's averaged 28.5 points on amazing shooting splits ever since he returned. He's still so good that his mere presence on the Nets make them a title contender. Following up, we have Shaun Livingston in at number 3. Livingston's known as the guy who suffered one of the most gruesome injuries in NBA history, yet still came back strong. He was facing off against the Bobcats in 2007 when he landed awkwardly and snapped his leg in half, causing him to tear his ACL, PCL, and MCL all at once. Doctors feared that Shaun wouldn't be able to walk again, and there were talks of amputating his leg as well. Livingston didn't want to give up though. He successfully underwent surgery and rehab, allowing himself to return to the court. Livingston was able to achieve the impossible. Not only did he return to the floor, but he was still pretty good. He played a vital role for the Warriors off the bench, helping them win 3 NBA championships. These are the types of stories you love to hear. Moving on, we have Paul George at number 2. Paul George has always been one of the best two-way players in the league, and as early as his 3rd and 4th NBA seasons, it was clear that he'd be a star in no time, especially after his performances against Miami in the playoffs. Before the injury, PG-13 had 2 All-Star appearances and helped the Pacers make it to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years in a row. But during the 2014 Olympics, the athlete suffered a gruesome injury, much like Livingston's. He was attempting to go for a block, but instead he fell and suffered a compound fracture on his leg. Fans of the player and his team were in shock because he was their franchise player. He missed the entire 2015 season due to the fracture, but once the 2016 season rolled around the corner, he came out guns blazing, averaging 23 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals a game. Plus, he kept on getting better and better as time went on and had the best season of his career in 2019, when he nearly won both MVP and Defensive Player of the Year awards. As of now, Paul's doing great on the Clippers as well. And with Kawhi by his side, the Clippers are championship contenders. Finally, we have Klay Thompson at number 1. Klay represents one half of the Splash Brothers, and much like Curry, his three-point shooting is just unreal. After some amazing seasons with the Warriors where he played a huge role in helping them secure 3 rings, he suffered a torn ACL in Game 6 of the 2019 NBA Finals. The worst part is that the setbacks didn't end there, and he would then suffer a torn Achilles tendon in November of 2020, just before he was hoping to make his return. Klay, his squad, and all of his fans were the saddest they've been since Golden State blew their 3-1 lead in 2016. But Thompson didn't give up. He kept working hard and stayed determined, which allowed him to finally return in January of 2022, almost 3 years after his last NBA game. Klay hasn't missed a beat, and he's still a spectacular player. In his return from injury, he was able to average 20.4 points in 32 games on 43% shooting, and went on to score 19 points a game across 22 games in the playoffs. Also, we can't forget his signature Game 6 Klay performance against the Grizzlies, which helped the Warriors advance to the Western Conference Finals. That's a wrap for this video. Which injury did you guys think was the worst, and which player's comeback do you think was the best? Let us know in the comments below. As always, remember to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.